Brande Roderick is most known for her role as Leigh Dyer in the #1 syndicated show in America, Baywatch. But she loves the horror genre, appearing in films like Snoop Dogg's Hood of Horror and Dracula 2: Ascension. She's now decided to go behind the camera and direct her own horror film, Wineville.
What could happen in a place called Wineville?
Now, she sits down to talk with your host. What's up, horror fam? Steven, AKA Bojangles here, and come closer, my friends. I have something scary to tell you, because today I'm sitting down with the absolutely stunning Brande Roderick, and forget the tea, we're going to spill the guts on this one. So sit back, relax, and enjoy, horror fam.
Oh, I love it. It's awesome.
Thank you.
That's great.
I would like to thank you for being willing to come on here and talk some horror with me today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. You know, it's funny because I just came from a luncheon. My girlfriends, there was about, I think, 8 of us, they all surprised me for winning Best Directress for Wineville. And we just had lunch and everybody surprised me. It was beautiful. It was so much fun. And so I'm just coming from that. So that was really nice and a highlight. You know, mimosas were had, you know, that kind of thing.
Oh, man, that is some awesome friends right there, man.
I know. It was so sweet to acknowledge that. And, you know, that was very sweet of them. It was fun.
Right. And we are going to talk a lot about Wineville because you sent me a copy of the movie, an autographed copy. Very happy to have that in the collection.
Good.
And I'm just going to tease it right now and say that I'm very surprised.
Yes. Right. That is the thing that I love to hear most is that when people leave watching it, they're like, holy crap, I was not expecting that. And that was one of my goals, is to have all those crazy twists and turns and to really shock people. So I love to hear, you know, people like yourself saying that.
Absolutely. And that's a little teaser for right now, horror fam. Okay, we're going to get into that, but you're going to have to stick around for it, baby, because first I'm going to ask you a few questions here.
Okay, I'm a little nervous. Okay.
Right. We're gonna spill the guts, like I said. Okay. I've got some good ones.
Yeah, let's spill the guts.
All right. These are a little more serious. And then I have some fun ones later. And those go a little bit off the rails, but
okay. I like off the rails, obviously. I mean, you saw my movie.
Absolutely.
So let's go for it. Yeah.
All right. Now, you know, I've seen studies that say out of all the actors and actresses in the world, that only 10% of those are able to actively find work. And only 2% are then able to make a living from it. So you have lived an absolutely incredible life. You have lived multiple lifetimes in my book, because you've been on television, you've been in movies, you've directed movies, Playboy Playmate of the Month, Playmate of the Year, all of the above. But, you know, most people are going to assume, oh, well, you know, you're so beautiful that, hey, that must have been really easy for you. But I know that's not true. It takes a ton of work. Mm-hmm. So I just have to ask, how are you so successful, and how are you able to keep finding success?
I think that success with anything really comes with a huge drive. You have to really want something really bad, and you have to be willing to do all of the things that other people will not do. You have to get out there and really hit the pavement and do the hard work. It's not going to be, you know, you've heard the stories, you know, oh, I was just moved to Hollywood, I was walking my dog and I was discovered. It just, that doesn't happen. And if it does, it's rarer than the rarest of anything, right? So you just have to really want what you want and go after what you want and work hard. And, you know, like I said, do all the things other people won't do, because there's a lot of you out there. There's a lot of people out there trying to do the same thing you're doing. And if you're doing the same thing everyone else is doing, guess what? Then you're probably not going to get very far. And when you
Yes.
said 10% that are actually working and 2% that are actually making a living, I'm surprised it's even that much, to be honest.
Wow.
It is a very tough business for
Yeah.
sure. If you want it, and you can have anything you want. I am a firm believer in that.
Yeah, I'm sure over your career, you've seen and worked with a lot of people who have come and just gone.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. You see that all the time. And, it could be because either A, they just didn't want it bad enough. B, things changed. They might have, their path changed. They decided maybe they wanted to be a mom, wanted to be a teacher, wanted to change, career paths. And that's good. That's fine too. You can pivot. But yes, I've seen a lot of people come and go, and then a lot of people rise as well, that haven't done anything in so long. And here they are, they're back, or they finally made it. And that is really exciting for me to see, is when, people you grew up with and care about, that, want it so bad. And then you finally see them succeeding. And that's always so fun to see.
Has there been any traits or characteristics that you've noticed in the people who are going to succeed and the ones who are just going to fail? Like you can see it all over them.
Drive. They don't give up. They don't take no for an answer, and continue to hone their craft, whatever it is they're doing, continuously, schooling themselves, and, not giving up. I mean, a lot of people, they do something, they go after, but then they give up too soon. And if you stick at it and keep going, you're going to eventually succeed at what you want.
Would you say, I mean, have you seen examples of somebody who maybe didn't have the most talent at that point in time? They're not the most talented, but they just stuck with it and persevered and are successful now?
I mean, I think that, like, if you're saying like acting, for instance,
Mhm.
it could be something that you can get better at. It's like a muscle, right? You go to acting classes, just like you go work out, and your muscles get bigger and you get better at it. You can, there are some people that are just really naturally talented, maybe that don't need as much practice, I guess. But if you go to, acting classes, you work on that muscle long enough, you're going to learn and you're going to get good. So it's like, it's with anything. Like, you think of an instrument, right? Guitar, some people are just naturally, can pick it up. They're savants. They can pick up music easily, and it means nothing. They could just do it so easily. And there's someone that actually goes to classes and then they become fantastic, but they had to go through all the years of practice of learning that instrument. So, I'm a firm believer in whatever it is that you're passionate about, what you want to do, you can do it, even if you're not maybe a natural at it. It doesn't come easily naturally, but you can learn it. No matter what it is.
So did you develop that mindset over time, or have you always kind of been like that?
I feel I'm really lucky because I grew up in a household where I had a mother that would say, you can do anything you want, set your mind to something, you can do it. So I was really lucky that I had that instilled in me in such a young age, because I believed, and I still believe, I could do anything. I could do anything I want. So I just, whatever it might be, graduating from high school a year early, getting my real estate license at 18, becoming an actress, being on the #1 watch show in the world, being one of 60 women in Playboy. Like, it's, I just have that thing of like, whatever I want to do, I can do. I just have to, set my mind to it and focus on it and go towards that goal.
Wow. Now, have you ever had any like horrible times when you're like, oh man, I'm down on my luck, this might not work out, and you thought about quitting or maybe just a complete 180?
I've never thought about quitting. However, I have pivoted a lot in my career. Um, but I always try to do things that I still enjoy, but I just pivot. I do different things depending on what's happening in my life. You know, for example, when I was going through my divorce, I was not able to just go and fly across the country to Romania and shoot a movie, right? Because I had little babies and I wasn't married anymore. So I had to be home all the time. So I went back to doing real estate for that short period of time where I could be home with my children and they could go with me on my open houses, you know, so I pivoted with that, which real estate is in my blood. I love it. I love, you know, taking a house that's a piece of doo-doo and turning it into something beautiful. So I love that kind of stuff. So I pivoted, right? So I had that certain amount of time I had to be home with the children. And then when they were old enough, it's like, okay, now I'm back to my passion of acting, my passion of producing, you know, whatever, the creativity. You know, so I just kind of pivot, even though there's a lot of creativity that has to do with like remodeling a home, right? So that was like feeding that. But I think that, yeah, I think you just pivot. I don't think you ever, I hope people don't give up. I don't want people to ever give up on their dreams. You know, you've always got to keep that dream alive.
Yeah, I see the picture behind you that says #goals.
Yes. Yep.
So what is a goal that you've had? You're like, I want this more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
And how long, like, what is the longest it has taken you to achieve a goal that you felt that way about?
Ooh. I don't feel like I guess that I've ever really had like most goals I've set for myself like are usually like within a year or two. But I do recall even just for example, getting Baywatch, which was my very first series regular role. That was a breakout role for me. I wanted it really bad. And I'm someone that is very into manifesting and, you know, doing all the things and visualizing and everything you can do. And I was doing that really heavily. And I wasn't after all the auditions, you know, I wasn't getting the call. It was like taking forever. And I was like, oh, kind of freaking out. And I was doing all the things, you know, to make this goal happen. And I remember going to the Beverly Center, which is a mall in Los Angeles. And I went to this one little shop and there was this little rock and it said patience on it. And I was like, I need that. I'm going to get that rock. And I got the rock and I put it in my pocket and like, okay, I'm just going to be patient. You know, if it doesn't happen, I'll just move on and I'll, you know, move on. I walk outside the mall. I get the call from my agent. As soon as I walked out of the mall, Brandy, you got it. You're moving to Hawaii. I literally dropped to my knees in the parking lot, on my knees, in the parking lot on the blacktop. And I was just started crying. I was just like, oh my God, yes. So I really feel like that's one of the things that I wanted so bad. I manifested, I visualized and I got it. And that was a goal that I remember I really, really wanted a series regular role. And to be able to move and live in Hawaii was just an absolute dream come true. Like the best job ever. But I've had so many of those moments where just things that have happened with visualizing something and wanting it and going after it. And yeah, I mean, I feel like that's been my career path all along, really.
Wow. So yeah, where's that rock now?
Well, that's so funny. I don't have that rock and I should have saved that freaking rock, but I have lots of rocks. Like this one right here says miracle. I've got my pyrite. I've got all kinds of crystals and rocks everywhere surrounding me all the time. So I love my little mementos and tokens and things that help me to believe.
Wow. Yeah. So you just surround yourself with all of this positive energy and things have really worked out for you, right?
Well, do you want another, like, I'm just like opening up, but another really fun story about, you know, how I am a manifester and visualize things. So I created these magazine covers with my picture on it. And well, I have one right here. I'll show you.
Wow. Thank you.
See that Hollywood Reporter?
Yeah.
Anyway, so I have these things, visual, like they're like vision boards, basically. Didn't think anything of it. I have stuff like this all over. When Wineville came out, it either came out or was about to come out, I got an article sent to me, and it was the Hollywood Reporter, me on the cover of the Hollywood Reporter. And I was like, oh my gosh, Wineville, we made it on the Hollywood Reporter. And I was like so excited. And then I looked and I was like, oh my God, there's my picture. I'm on the Hollywood Reporter. It worked. I manifested that. I visualized, I put it around my world. And of all the magazines it could have been, it was the freaking Hollywood Reporter. It could have been any magazine. And there was Wineville in the Hollywood Reporter with my picture on the front.
That is incredible.
I had no idea. I wasn't expecting it. It wasn't, I didn't plan it. It was just one of those things. Like I really believe in manifesting your reality.
Wow. So do you have like a system we need to get into here? I know you have the rocks. You're surrounding yourself with those, and the hashtag goals painting back there.
Yes. Surround yourself with your dreams, what you want, write it down. But I will say, all of that's great and that part's fun. But really, what's so huge is gratitude. Honestly, every morning I wake up and I list 10 things I'm grateful for. And if for whatever reason I didn't get to do it, or, I'm so busy, I didn't get to do that part of my day, it's not as good. My day is always better when I write 10 things I'm grateful for. It just makes a huge difference. It really does. And that's the start of it. That's really what's most important. So when you're grateful for things that you have, it makes life so much better.
Yeah. Then you get more things to be grateful for, right?
Yes. That's right. That's the process. Yeah, definitely.
So what would you tell someone who's currently in those dark days? They maybe want to achieve some of the dreams that you've achieved throughout your life, and they're just trying their best, but nothing seems to be working. What would you tell them?
Well, sometimes it's hard, right? When you're in a sad, dark place to get out of it. But what I can say is there is light at the end of the tunnel, for sure. 100%. But what I would recommend people to do is watch the documentary, Miracle Morning, because that gives you really tangible tools that you could use to help you kind of move towards, whatever it might be, whether it's a goal or just living a lighter lifestyle, whatever it might be. I think the Miracle Morning is a great documentary for anyone it's an hour and a half. It's not going to take up much of your time. There's a book if you'd rather listen to the book or read the book. But I think that's a good place to start. I'm a big believer I've been reading self-help books my whole life. And for me, that's my thing. I read like 3 books a month. And I say read, but I listen. I do Audible, because when I'm walking or working out, whatever, in my car, it's all about Audible. But if you can listen to or read as many books as possible, it's just something that's going to, it can light fires inside of you and give you ideas and thoughts, and or make you realize, I'm not so different from other people. And, this is what this person did that's so much like me, and they succeeded, or whatever it might be. There's a book for everything. So I'm a big firm believer in reading as many self-improvement books as you possibly can on anything you're interested in. It could be about, I read a lot of health books and new technology, just whatever it might be that interests you, or it could be about your career path, whatever it is you want to do in your career or life. So yeah, books, documentaries, gratitude. And if you feel like, doing a little, meditation and visualization, affirmations, I'm a firm believer in that, but that's not for everybody. God, pray to God. I mean, it's just whatever floats your boat.
So there you go, horror fam. That's your homework. Read some books and check out the documentary Miracle Morning.
Yeah. It's a good one.
Yeah. So now you've worked everywhere from television to movies, from comedy to Christmas to horror. Do you have a favorite genre to work in?
Well, I do love it all. But horror, of course, is a lot of fun. Like for example, playing Tanya in Dracula 2 Ascension. That was a lot of fun because when I turned into a vampire, I got to be a different being, a different creature, and that was a lot of fun. However, that being said, it is crazy being covered. Have you dealt with fake blood?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so it's dyed corn syrup. So imagine being in 0-degree weather with corn syrup all over your whole body and being buried alive. It's not the most comfortable thing. It is a bit crazy. But I'll tell you, on that set in Romania, we had so much fun, working with Jason London and Craig Sheffer. And, we had so much fun being over in Romania. I mean, being there in the real, where Dracula is really from, we went to his real castle. So that was pretty cool.
Awesome. And yeah, the fake blood stuff, I mean, it's going to dye your skin. And if you are unlucky enough to have any body hair, it's getting pulled out.
Well, I had it in, yeah, you're right. Like, it's just so sticky. It's, but it was all in my hair. I came home one night after that night of being just covered in it. And my mom was there with me in Romania. And she was in the shower with me, just scrubbing, trying to get that stuff out of my hair. It was horrendous. It really was. Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, that is a fun movie, I mean, a very fun character. Do you have a favorite type of character that you like to play?
Well, I do also, I love the comedy. I really have to say, like I had, for example, just even being in Starsky and Hutch with Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson, that was just so much fun. And, and Todd Phillips, right? Academy Award winning director, won, the award for Joker. But when we were shooting that scene and we were pretty much done with everything, he said, "Oh, let's do one more time." So we go to shoot one more time, and unbeknownst to me, I had no idea that Todd had told the guys, "Hey, improv this, like just shock the heck out of Brandy." And they start asking me all these crazy questions, and I'm like, I had no idea they were going to do it. So, they're asking me what I weigh, what my sign is, all the things from the movie, and it was all real reactions. And that's the scene they ended up using, was our improv scene. So, the comedy is just so much fun. I had no idea they were going to do that. We got to improv and have so much fun with that. So all the answers were like real answers they were asking me. And it was the improv scene they used, so it was just, it was a lot of fun. So I have fun with comedy too. I think horror and comedy are by far my most favorite genres. Definitely.
For sure. And how do you prepare for a role? Like, is there a difference between prepping for a horror role and a comedy role?
Yes. Yeah, because it's a kind of a different kind of acting. But the preparation's still there, right? You still have preparation. It's just different. The timing is a little different. So it is definitely a little different. But those two, those are fun. You get to have fun with it, right? Being scared and scary, whatever it might be, that's fun to do. Whereas a dramatic role, let's say, for example, you have to you're doing a very kind of serious, sad something, you know, you will have to prepare for. That I like less, because you carry that with you. You carry it with you home. I mean, you can't just shake that stuff, because you're becoming that character. So if you're becoming a very sad and, let's say, suicidal character in a movie, you're not just like shaking it off and going home and everything's hunky-dory and you're laughing with your family. You know, if you really have to get into that character. So for me, I like that the least, especially right now, because I do have a family and I want to be able to go home and have fun. So, which is why comedy is so great and horror is so great, because horror, it's fun to just be spooky and creepy, and, you know, it's easy to scream and, you know, so that's fun and easy for now. Drama is you take that stuff home with you a little too much.
Yeah, I mean, then that actually leads me into the next question I had for you, because Wineville, your film, gets pretty intense, and you have your son in this movie, right?
Yes, I do.
So I was going to ask you, like, how do you cope with the psychological toll of filming something like that? And then did you have to deal with like switching that off when you got home, or was it all just roses and fun?
You know what? It was so quick. I mean, we shot that in 12 days. And so, and I was wearing so many hats, right? So I'm running around, you know, before call times, doing everything, then on set, doing this and that. And then after, you know, after we wrap, I'm doing this and that, getting ready for the next day. And he would stay with me on set. Like, we brought my RV and we would stay a lot of nights on set, so we didn't have to drive all the way home. But, you know, it just carried into each day. And the character itself, like my character, Richard wrote it in such a way that it really was easy for me, because my character is a mom that will do anything to protect her son. And that's real life, right? Like, if anyone messes with my kid, guess what? I'm going to protect my kid and do everything to protect my child. So the acting part, that was easy for me to be able to play a role where I'm protective mother, right? So that just came naturally. I didn't really have to like get into character. That is my character. So that part, thankfully, was easy, because I had to wear so many hats on Wineville, you know, running around putting out tons of fires, even in that short, you know, 12 days. I mean, day one, we got to set, and our costume designer got COVID. We found, you know, we were shooting during the time where we had to go and test. We had someone on set that would test us every day, and she tested positive. And this is a film based in 1978. It's not like they're running down to Walmart and grabbing stuff. You know what I mean? I mean, this was very well thought out, methodical, calculated wardrobe. So we had to hurry up and find someone like right there in the very last second. You know, these things that you have to then pivot. I always talk about pivoting. And then even another time, one of our set designers sprayed spray paint in her eyes, and we had to get her to the emergency room. And, you know, another thing, you know, I had to deal with as being producer. It's just, as I'm also trying to, you know, get into character, get this outfit, and then getting this person ready, and dealing with, you know, the lunch menu, whatever it might be. I mean, there was just a million things to do. A million things went wrong, but, you know, you pivot and you make it work and you figure something out. And that's the part that I actually love, that part. I love figuring out how to make something work.
Yeah, I imagine there was a lot of that. I mean, a 12-day shoot is breakneck speeds.
Yeah. 12-hour days, 12 days. Actually 10-hour days, 12 days. Yeah, it was fast. Yeah, we did it fast, but we made it happen.
Yes, you did. And for those of you who don't know, Wineville follows the story of a woman who fled her abusive father's vineyard as a teenager. Now she returns after his death. And that is when she begins to uncover the family's dark secrets, which have festered leading to violence and death as she settles the estate.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Yes.
gotta ask you now. I mean, we've talked about the COVID, and we talked about the set dresser spraying spray paint into her own eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the craziest thing that happened on set?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm sure there were crazier things. Well, our camera crane did not work for the opening shot, so that ended up getting scrapped. Yeah, that happened. So that we took hours trying to get that thing to work, and that didn't work. I mean, there were so many things. And then one of the actors, I don't know how this happened, but one of them was vegan. Our chef didn't bring vegan options. I mean, the list goes on. I could sit here and think of all kinds of things that happened. Yeah, there were just, lots of things, cars breaking down, locations changing at the last minute. Yeah, losing light, that happens all the time. The very last, so one thing I can say for any of you independent filmmakers out there, never shoot your most important scene last. Because we did that. We shot the most important scene of the movie on the last day, and we were fighting the light. Like, we only had so much, the sun was going to come up, and we had to get this shot done before that sun came up. And we got it done just in the nick of time, but man, that was stressful. I wish that I learned that lesson. Don't ever do a very important scene at the very last day when you're only going to have so much time. I wish we had another day, right? You always need more time, but don't ever do that. Do that more like in the middle. Your important scenes in the middle.
Yeah, because I'm sure, by then everybody's tired, they're wiped, and you got to dial it in. I mean, this is
money
up
for like 24 hours. I mean, we shot during the day, and then we also had to shoot at night. So, and that sun was coming up like 5:30 a.m. and yeah, we had to get it done. It was like a reality show, right? Where you're on the clock and you're like the chefs are trying to cook and get everything done by the certain amount of time. And it was like we were on one of those shows.
Oh my goodness. Now, what is a core memory from filming Wineville that you are going to take with you forever and just cherish it?
Well, I mean, this isn't a very exciting memory for you guys to hear, but when I first got there in the morning on day one, I looked around and I just had this most wonderful, like euphoric feeling that came over me. Like, I did it. Here we are, day one. And it was a magical feeling. It really was. It was like, I've made it. And it just felt so good. And I had you would think I would be nervous or stressed or whatever it might be. But it was just the most euphoric, wonderful feeling that very first day before we started just being on set. And I took that all in, and it was awesome. That being said, another, the thing that I'm going to take with me is the fact that I got to work with my son on this movie. Like, that for me was such, a blessing, and I'll always have that memory. He'll always have that memory, and we'll have that we could share together. And that is really special for me. One thing talking about that. So the very last, well, I don't want to say when because I don't want to spoil it, but there is a scene where I am compromised, where it looks like I could die. And my mom is there on set, and she's watching on the monitor. She's like, oh my God, I can't watch. This is horrible. And she's freaking out. I'm like, Mom, what are you freaking out about? It's fake. It's horrible. You're like, what do you mean? Like, why are you so worried? No, you just don't understand. And I couldn't understand. And then there's a scene where my son gets put on a cross thing, and he is screaming, for help. He says, "Mom, help me!" And I'm like, he's recording, he's doing it, and I'm like, oh my god, like it was so scary, and I felt it, and I'm like, oh my god, Mom, I'm so sorry, I didn't understand. Now I understand. Like, even though it's fake, hearing your child call out for help is just it's a horrible feeling. And again, even though it's fake, you're still feeling it. They're an actor, so they're doing a good job acting, that they're in trouble. So I get it now. It's like, even though it's acting, it's hard to see your kid in distress like that.
Yeah, would you say that's possibly the scariest moment you've ever had while filming?
That movie, yes, for sure. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Wow. All right, now
Yeah.
I gotta know what's happened on some other sets though then.
Well, I was almost buried alive in Dracula 2. That was scary because that is scary. And when I did Dracula 2, because I'm being buried alive, when they go to throw the dirt on my face, they did a prosthetic head. So I had to go in and get a prosthetic done. And if anyone knows what that's like, it is the scariest, most claustrophobic thing. Like, you think you're going to die. So they pour all this stuff over your head. It's covering your nose where you can't breathe. And they give you a little straw, and it's hardening on your face. So you have to breathe through a tiny little straw with this, like, it's the most scary feeling ever you can imagine. And then they crack open the back and they finally take it off. We had to go through the process like multiple times with me because I was so freaked out, because you panic and you're like, get her off. That was very freaky. We did that for Dracula. However, nowadays, all these younger generation puddins, they don't have to do that anymore. They got, we got computer generized things now that go around your head, and then it makes the 3D, cast. You don't have to do a real cast anymore on your head. But I had to go through that scary stuff. So that was creepy. And then even on Baywatch, we had scenes where we had to go inside a tank, a water tank, and then inside the water tank was another tank, and you have to go inside, and they're closing this stuff on you, and you're like, your scene is that you can't get out, and you're drowning, and the water is up to here, and that shit feels real, because all you're thinking the whole time is, what if they think I'm acting and I'm really trying to get out? And what if they can't open it and the water keeps going? Like, there's so much scary stuff that goes into stuff, especially if you're a claustrophobic person like I am. But I've been put in a lot of crazy situations with the movies and TV shows I've done. Even I did the Fear Factor, Celebrity Fear Factor, which I got a hernia from. That they catapulted us up 30 feet in the air with a jackhammer hanging by the feet and jackhammering our heads into the water as we tried to grab flags. And there's no way to say, help, I'm done. Or, like you have to hope they know that, you're in distress. But I've been put in a lot of situations, but I like it. I'm a thrill seeker. I love all that kind of competition. I love that stuff.
Jeez, I guess so. Yeah, I could have. Wow, I got a whole lot more than I bargained for right there, man. That is.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot.
Oh my God. Yeah. And me and my fiance just watched a true crime episode the other day where someone was buried alive. And I'm like, oh my God.
Right? Oh my God. That is my weakness. True crime stories. Oh, I'm addicted. I try not to do it because it messes with your brain, right? It's not positive. But I love it. I'm really addicted. I love that stuff. In college, I took a class on serial killers. I wanted to know what makes them tick, how they were created, were they born with it, whatever it might be. I'm so fascinated with this stuff. And the true crime stuff it's addictive.
Right. And then you start questioning your neighbors because it's like, the housemaid who had been with him for 10 years.
Yes.
What?
Even, like just yesterday, I was on my walk. Like I live in a wonderful neighborhood. I was walking and there was a guy walking behind me and I'm like thinking to myself, I just watched the true crime story and the guy went, they were walking and he hit her over the head. And then, so I'm like thinking to myself, oh shit. And I start walking fast, but it makes your mind crazy. Right. But I love it. I love those stories.
Yeah. I've actually read books about, especially celebrities.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And how there are agencies out there that are hired just to protect these celebrities. Like they are experts on weirdos, essentially. And this one female celebrity, can't remember who it was, she was getting like letters from this person. And this agency was so good at what they did, they knew like, well, these we could throw them away, not pay any attention. Oh, this is a warning sign. We're in trouble. So they investigate this person and they're looking around this woman's block because they know like they're coming to get her.
Yeah.
While they are searching for this weirdo super fan, whatever the hell you'd call them, they find another person in the bushes that was also stalking them. Totally different person.
Oh, wow. So they were looking for one person, but then found another.
That's how prevalent it is.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy. There was a movie out. Did you see it? Is it called Borderland? Oh gosh. And it was about it just came out. A celebrity female and a crazed fan. And then at the end, they go to get married, or it was crazy. It was a horror film. Did you see it? What the heck is it called? Oh, someone has to tell us. This is live, right? I know you guys know what it is. It just came out. It starts with a B, I think. My mom told me to watch it. I watched it, but it's kind of Borderlands. Yes, it was Borderlands. Thank you, Bingers. Hope I said that right. Borderlands. That's kind of what you're just talking about. Yeah, that was crazy. That was an intense.
Oh my goodness. So did you at any point, now this is just curious here on Wineville, you talked about working with your son and how scared you got when he was on that makeshift crucifix type contraption.
Yeah.
Did Mama Bear have to come out at any point on that set? Like, did you get defensive at any point or?
No. No, I didn't. I'm pretty tough with my kids. So I'm kind of more, I would be the one, like trying to get them in line or whatever. But, so I'm pretty tough on my kids, but, I haven't had to go all mama bear. But I would.
Hey, I'm lucky for him then.
I call it, we tease because where I came from, it's kind of the hood. We call it is RPP. Roanoke Park Playboys was the gang we had in our town. And my friends and I always, tease, we'll go RPP on your ass. Like, don't mess with us. Like, we come from the hood. We will. I won't go in. I don't want to get too ghetto, but we have our sayings that we say.
You down with RPP, baby?
You down with RPP? Yeah. Yeah. Don't mess with our friends and family, that's for sure.
No way, man. Count me out.
Yeah.
So at what point did you decide like, hey, I want to get into the filmmaking process?
I don't know if there was a point that I kind of said that, but I mean, ever since I can remember, when I was a kid at 6, 7 years old, we were putting on performances in my living room. I was going around to all the neighbors selling tickets to the performances. Like, that was just in me. I loved performing. My grandparents, everybody always said, you're the biggest ham. So I always I love performing. And that's been instilled in me forever. And when I went to college, I minored in theater, and I was living in Northern California, and I'd go to San Francisco, and I was doing, like, I did Nash Bridges with, Don Johnson, did 2 episodes of that. I did all these independent films. I did extra work in big blockbuster films like The Rock with Nicolas Cage. All this stuff, but you can only go so far living outside of Los Angeles. So at the ripe old age of 22, 23, I can't remember, 22 or 23, I packed up a U-Haul. I sold my car. I packed up a U-Haul, and I went to my friend Leonard's house, slept on his couch until my room was ready. No car, and just went and followed a dream. I realized, I'm not getting any younger. And it's time to go. It's time to move on and do bigger, better things than just being in Northern California doing small things. So, yeah.
Yeah. It seems like the people who are willing to take the big leap, like the big change, are the ones who make it. I know Quentin Tarantino did a very similar thing.
Okay. Oh, I love him. Who doesn't love him? You've got to take risks. You've got to go for it. If it's what you want, it's your dream. You have to take the risks. Even doing Wineville, it was a huge risk for me, but I did it. It's like, because, and I loved it so much. I love producing. I love acting. It's that thing where they say, do what you would do for free, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what I would do for free. I've done it for free. I've done acting for friends for free. I've produced for free. Like, you do the things that you love that you would do for free.
Wow. So what point? Because I've heard you say that, you love the producing, you love the acting. How did you feel about the directing?
Well, I love, I would say almost everything about it, like the pre-production, the coming up with the creation of the story, working alongside Richard Shankman, who's absolutely amazing at writing, directing himself. So creating with him the story, the casting process for me was so much fun. I absolutely loved that. And then the post-production, I love the post-production, the part of just being a part of the editing process, the music, the sound, the color, everything that goes into post-production, and then going out and trying to sell it and find your distributor. And so I loved everything from start to finish.
Wow. So you had your hand in all of it, huh?
Everything. It was my baby. I had my hand in everything. Yeah.
Wow. That's very interesting. We just recorded a podcast episode with me and my fiance, and we're talking about where some movies today are going wrong. And we've heard from other filmmakers and stuff like that there's a gap there. Like, the director's not going into the editing room anymore. The director's not paying attention to the color grading. They don't care. Some movies don't even get color graders. Like, it's just, they're going to let the digital imaging technician do that on set as it's being filmed. So.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. No, I feel like if you're going to put your stamp on it, put your name on it, you better have a say-so in everything. Because if you say, okay, yeah, that looks good, or if you don't say that, your name's on it, right? You better be okay with everything that's going into it and be proud of it. If not, the only time I guess that wouldn't happen is if you're just being hired for one job, right? Mm-hmm. Then you don't really care about maybe everything, because it's not your job to care about everything. But for me, as the producer, I needed to see everything through from start to finish. And if it doesn't do well, I want it to be on me. Not that I'm handing anything off to anybody else. Like, this is my baby. I'm going to do everything I can to make it my vision, what I think is going to succeed out there. Right. So that way you only have yourself to blame. You're not going to be blaming somebody else, right? Well, this person did that, it's their fault. No, I will take full responsibility for anything, because that was my baby. And even if I signed off on something, I signed off on it.
Wow. I absolutely love and admire that a lot.
Oh, well, thank you.
Oh yeah. Well, now you could possibly earn some more brownie points with me because I have a very big, probably the most important question of the night right here.
Okay.
So in
Oh,
Wineville,
hold on. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
there is a lot of
Mm-hmm.
bad ass muscle cars. Okay. You had the Vet, you had the Camaro that you were driving around in. Now, was that all you're doing?
Um, well, what I can tell you is, so the Camaro. Oh yeah. So let me tell you this. Okay, so you're talking about the Camaro I was driving. Let me tell you how I got the Camaro. Thank you. That's Batman Joe. The Camaro. So where I live in Temecula, we have what's called hot rod nights. It's not, it's kind of like hot August nights, but it's like hot rod nights, whatever. So people sit in the restaurants along the street, and then people in their hot rods, go down and they cruise. And this was right in pre-production, and we needed old cars. And here comes this white Camaro, whatever it was. What was it, 68? Or he's going to kill me for not knowing. Anyway, so it comes down to my, oh, that would be the perfect car for Tess. That's Tess's car. And so I told my kid, I think it was Keaton, I said, right here, go run up. Here's a piece of paper and pen. Run up to that car. Go get it. Tell him I want to put his car in a movie. So he ran to all the way down the street, found, caught up with the car, and he wrote his name and his number on this piece of paper and brought it back to me. And that's how I got the Camaro, because we were just at this hot rod festival cruising night, and I had my kid run and track down that guy. So that's how we got the Camaro. Evan Cook, shout out to Evan Cook for letting me use his car for the movie. So that's how we got that car. Then there is the red Firebird, the convertible that everybody pulls up in, and that is my boyfriend's car.
Baby.
So that was easy, and that's obviously a very beautiful car. And then the Corvette, the white Corvette, was Richard Shankman's car. Our writer producer Richard Shankman, that was his car. And then the attorney drove up. Her car was one of our friends' car. I'm trying to think what other cars. The only one we had to rent was the sheriff's car. No one had that perfect car that looked like a sheriff's truck. So we did rent that one. And then the Ford, Joe's truck, the Ford, was our friend Dominic, who owned the winery. It was just there. It was there on the winery. He's like, can we use your truck? Yeah, so it all worked out perfectly. It was just between, tracking down people and our own friends and family. And, that's how we got all the cars, which was pretty cool. Mm-hmm.
Man, oh man. What was it like to drive that baby? Was it sweet?
Yeah. And it was fun because I grew up driving a stick, and that's how I learned to drive, was from a stick. So it was a stick. So for me, it was just fun because now, of course, everything's like automatic. So to be able to drive around in a stick again, that was fun. And my kid, he's 15 now, which is crazy, but I'm going to teach him how to drive with a stick. So I'm going to get one of my friends who has a stick and teach him how to drive in a stick. Cause I just think that's like, it's just a manly thing, it's a guy's thing. Like, you have to know how to drive a stick, even though it's like now the odds of you needing to, but what if there is an apocalypse, and you do have to run from zombies and you only have a truck that has a stick and whatever it might be. I don't know, but I think that everybody should know how to drive a stick, and that should be the first thing you learn to drive. But I'm old school. So yeah.
Or what if he goes on vacation to France and he gets one of those little putter cars and hey,
you never know. And you need to learn how to jump it. I had one car that the only way you could drive it was you had to jump it every single time. So we'd be running and I'd have to jump it. And then when I first moved to LA, I was telling you I didn't have a car. So my roommate Leonard, when I'd have to go to good for you, Dunwich Manor, good for you. But I had to borrow his car, and he had this old Porsche and it only had a second gear. You didn't have a first gear. So I would borrow that car. Had I didn't know how to drive a stick, I would never have even had a car to drive to audition. So I had to drive his car and I had to start in second gear and know how to do that. And, you know, so there's just, you never know what you're going to come across. You just don't.
Right. And yeah, you know, it's like the Fast and the Furious movies. I mean, it's like those cars, I know for a fact, they don't even come in a standard or a manual anymore, but they still have them like fake gear shift because it looks so cool.
Yes. And if you're going to drive a car like that, you want to have fun, right? You want to be like, ching, ching, you know, you want to be able to do it.
That is right, baby. So,
Yeah.
you know, I know Wineville is now, you can watch it for free on Tubi, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes, you can. You can stream it wherever you normally like to watch things, whether it's Amazon or Apple or Google Play or Fandango or YouTube or Tubi. Yeah, now you can watch it anywhere, which is pretty exciting.
So what's it like being on a platform like that, where you have just mass audience now, just for something that you were working on not too long ago?
It was just, it was a great feeling to finally get it out there because, as you know, it's making a film. It was from start to finish, I want to say 2.5, 3 years in the making by the time it finally, you know, we had our premiere and it was out there everywhere. So, you know, it's so great to see it finally out there, and hoping that, you know, people will go out and support an independent filmmaker, right? Support someone in their dream, right? Who really put it all on the line and gave up so much just to fulfill this dream of making this sick and twisted horror film. I always say, you know, we have to support each other, you know, not just as independent filmmakers, because that's a given. I think independent filmmakers should just support independent filmmakers. But if we all supported each other in our dreams in one small way, we would all be successful, right? I mean, whatever your dream is, you know, whatever this person is, like, if we just supported each other, we would all be so successful in our dreams, and the world would be a happier, better place if we're all able to get out there and live our dreams. Really.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've just got to ask, because I'm a creator, you know, I deal with a lot of different platforms and everything. Is the compensation from Tubi, do they treat you fairly, you would say?
You know what? I don't even know. I don't know yet. Because it takes so long before when it finally comes out to when you get your reports and everything. So honestly, I don't even know yet. So
yeah. Okay.
So fingers crossed, if everybody goes and watches it, yes, then we'll be okay, you know? Then I can continue my dream of making movies.
Yeah, see, the reason I ask is because, you know, I know now a lot of the streaming services are like, we're just going to make our own movies instead of licensing someone else's. Or for instance, like Spotify, I know that's music, but they have gotten to where they're making music with their own creators, you know, just bringing them in the studio, they record something, and then actually replacing songs on playlists with their own music just so they can get out of paying actual artists.
Right.
So I was just wondering, like, what is the best way to support Wineville? Like, would it be buying a physical copy?
You know, just watching it in any form that you want to watch it. Honestly, like whether it's Tubi or Amazon, or even if you go to winevillemovie.com and you are a person, which you are, I know you are, a DVD person, and you want an autographed DVD, you know, then you can get one off winevillemovie.com. Like, that's, everyone has their certain way that they like to watch things, right? So any way is helpful. Like, just whatever is your favorite way of watching a movie, go watch it that way. It's all helpful, and it all means a lot to me. And even more importantly, after you've watched it, go rate and review it. Even if you don't want to review it because you don't feel like typing what, at least go rate it with however many stars you liked it, right?
Yeah.
Because that really does, it helps us. If you watch a movie and then rate it, if enough people rate it, it goes up in the algorithm where more people will see it. And so it helps. It really helps it just going and rating and reviewing it.
So just put your eyes on it and
exactly.
drop some
And then
ratings.
tell me what you think and what you thought. And, you know, you could message me, you know, anywhere really. I'm really, you know, an easily attainable person, whether it's Instagram or Facebook or even winevillemovie.com, you know, whatever it might be, YouTube. I have all the platforms. Tell me what you think. You know, I love the feedback.
Yeah. And you said that you do sell autographed copies on winevillemovie.com?
Yep, I autograph it, and Keaton, my son, autographs it because we're both on the cover. So we autograph the DVD, and then I also include a photo, an autograph photo with it. So yeah, you get both. Mm-hmm.
There you go, horror fam. If you want one, that is the best way to snag
And
one.
that's what I love about horror films, right? Horror fans, they're like me, like they love, and you love the DVDs. And I love that it's having a resurgence, right? They're coming back, and I'm so excited when I go to all my conventions I go to, whether it's horror film conventions or pop culture, whatever it might be. I love seeing that DVDs are making a comeback and people are excited about getting DVDs again. So that's fun.
Absolutely. You know, I think streaming has been around long enough to where you're kind of seeing their hand now that they're playing. You know, all you're doing is licensing a copy when you purchase the streaming version. So if you have it physically, you get to keep it forever.
Exactly. Yep. And to have the autograph to come along with it. I mean, it's so much fun. And when I get that, you know, I'm a fan. So whenever I get my autographs from different actors that I love so much, you know, I get to pass that down to my kids, which is fun. Yeah, I'm definitely old school when it comes to, speaking of old school, like right here on my desk, even, you're going to laugh at this. I don't even know if I can reach it over here, but here, I'll unplug it. What do I have on my desk?
Oh my God, dude.
Look, it's got a CD player. It's got the tape cassette. There is something for me that's nostalgic. I have my big book of all my CDs of all my music I used to listen to. And I go through and I close my eyes and I pick a CD and then I put it in there. And I'm like, that's what I'm supposed to listen to right now. And I play it. It's just so fun. I can yell down and say, Alexa, play whatever. But I just love my old school tape CD player.
Yeah.
I'm aging myself. But it's fun.
So I have an old Z28 Camaro, hence the love.
Oh my gosh.
The Camaro. And last summer, actually, we lived in California. We were there for about a year. We lived around the Los Angeles area, Redondo Beach.
Okay, yeah.
And one thing we did before we made the trip out there is I went to like thrift stores looking for old cassette tapes because it still has the cassette player in it.
Oh, I love that.
Oh my God, dude.
Fun.
It was the most random selection too, like that we could find. It would be like, you know, I wanted the hair metal stuff.
Yeah.
I love hair metal.
Good Metallica and Godsmack and all the things. Yeah.
Well, and Metallica sounds better in that car, and this is no crap, than any other band, quality wise.
Oh my gosh, I love it. That is so funny.
But dude, you wouldn't believe the tapes we found, like just the mishmash of stuff. Whatever we could find. I mean, you know, so rare. We had like Dawkins, Belinda Carlisle.
I love it. I love all that. I love both of them. Oh my God. That's hilarious. I love it.
Oh man. Gosh. Yeah. You talk about a trip and a blast to the past. You know, you get the T-tops out and you're just blasting terrible quality Belinda Carlisle down the road. It's like,
that's so funny. That was my era for sure. I love it.
Oh man.
Oh my gosh, too fun. Too fun.
Speaking of fun, I have a list of some fun questions. Now I know that you're on a little bit of a time limit here, but we'll run through these. So I have some
Yeah.
fun ones for you.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. Now, first up, what is one question you've always wanted to be asked, but never have?
Oh. Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm such like an open book. I'm transparent. Oh my gosh. That's a hard one. You should have gave me the questions ahead of time. I don't know if there's ever a question that I
How about
haven't
doing this? Like, were you sitting there like, oh man, please let him follow up with, or
No, you know what? I feel like I've done so many interviews through I'm a dinosaur, right? I've been in this business so long. I feel like there hasn't been anything that has shocked me or, that someone hasn't asked. So that's a hard one. Oh my gosh. Oh, I don't know. You just have to ask it. Oh my gosh.
yeah, don't say that. I'll come up with some off the wall shit, and then we'll.
I had, what's so funny that you mentioned, I was going through all these old pictures and I had, if I looked, I had a picture with me and AC/DC at the Playboy Mansion.
Oh,
and I have it in this big pile, but it's going to take too long to go through. But I do have this picture that's sitting there that's with Starsky and Hutch. That was kind of fun. So Todd Phillips and Ben Stiller, and that was during the locker room scene. But
wow.
So I wish I had the Metallica one sitting here. It's in there somewhere.
Okay.
But gosh, I wish that I could think of a question that I wish I was asked, but I can't think of something that I've never been asked that I would want to be asked. So I don't know. Is there something you want to ask me?
Oh, dude, I can always come up with some crazy stuff, but I mean, I'll be kind.
We'll go back to that. We'll go back to that.
Yeah.
Maybe let's ask maybe your audience there, someone that's watching might have a good question they can ask. And we'll have it at the end.
Okay, yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
All right, so what's an interest that you have that might surprise people? Like maybe you're the best damn tuba player in the world,
Well, I have a lot of interests, but I might not be good at them. For example, there's something about the piano. I love the piano. I took lessons as an adult, not as a kid. There's something about I feel like I was either a pianist or married to one in a past life because I love the piano so much. I'm a big nerd dork. I think maybe people do know that, but definitely my family and friends I grew up with know that I'm a big dork. That I'm weird. I always try to embrace my weird, and I try to let my kids embrace their weird. For example, I'm a huge fan of The Greatest Showman, the movie. And when we watch The Greatest Showman, every time a song comes on, we all have to get up and dance. And we turn it on full blast and we dance around the living room. We jump on the couch, we jump on the chairs, and we dance. And we have so much fun every single song. And then when the song's over, we go back on the couch and sit down and watch the movie. And then we jump up again when the next song comes on. So, I mean, I'm a real dork like that for sure. So I love that kind of stuff. I am a fish. I love the water. I love swimming. But yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, there's a few. There's enough. There's a handful for you.
Yeah. Okay. What's your favorite scary movie?
Ooh. Well, I have many of them. I'm like influenced by Last House on the Left, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original I Spit on Your Grave, the original Psycho. I'm definitely influenced by all of these great horror films. However, the one that I feel, even though, and I will say this, I watched my very first horror film. I was 6 years old, and I watched The Exorcist with my mom. I sat on the couch with my mom and watched The Exorcist at 6 years old. That just goes to show you how messed up we are in our head a little bit, that my mom would let me watch that. But that's not even the film that had the most impact on me. The horror film that had the most impact on me, I feel like, and I know this might sound silly, but it was Nightmare on Elm Street. And I was either 12 or 13, and I had been watching horror films since I was 6 years old, so it wasn't a big deal to me. So I thought. And my girlfriend and I, Shauna, watched Nightmare on Elm Street, and for 2 nights straight, we both slept on my parents' floor. And here we are, teenagers, thinking, oh, it's no big deal, blah, blah, blah. But because that was so psychological and he gets you in your dreams, you don't want to go to sleep, right? You think you're going to get killed in your dreams. It was so, at a time, it was so crazy and something new and different. And even recently I was telling my kids, oh, that's the scariest movie. And we wanted to watch it. We all wanted to watch our favorite scary movie. So I was like, oh, kids, we were all making bets which kid is going to sleep in my room that night, right? I was like, one of you or all of you will be sleeping in my room. I said, trust me. And we watched the movie, and it was not scary at all. It was like, because now things are so advanced and so different, but they were laughing at me. They're like, Mom, that wasn't even scary. And here I was so traumatized by this movie, right? Because it's just, everything has changed so much. And when you watch it back, it's like, okay, I wasn't as scary as it was back then. But that had the most effect on me. That was really scary for me.
What is your favorite era or decade of horror?
70s.
Yeah, sounds like it. Yeah, I can see those influences in Wineville, by the way. Like,
yes,
that's what surprised the hell out of me. I was like, okay, there's no way she's, this is going to be very pretty. This film's not going to get its hands dirty. I mean, it's even called Wineville. You don't,
Yes.
I watched it and was like, holy shit, dude, she went for it.
I went for it and then some. Yeah, definitely. I love that era. That was an era where it was just no holds bar, and it really was the serial killer era. I mean, there were just so many of those types of films. Even like the Zodiac Killer, and I mean, there were just so many. It was just a cool era.
Yeah, it's kind of like the end of the Wild West, right? Like, technology wasn't too advanced yet. Everybody didn't have access to phones. Cars weren't as reliable. Like, anything could happen.
Exactly. And all the, practical effects, which is, that's why that was so important to me, is to do practical effects as opposed to, the CGI. So to get that feel of like real life blood and guts. Yeah.
So do you have a favorite horror monster? Freddy, Jason?
Freddy Krueger. I mean, for me, Freddy Krueger. He was the spookiest guy, got in your head, and he was the spooky one for me. That's my guy. I was even Freddy Krueger for Halloween one year. I mean,
what?
Well, and Jason. No, Michael Myers. I've been Michael Myers. I've been Freddy Krueger. Yeah, I like all the crazy things. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Awesome. Yeah. So if you could be in any horror movie from any time, what would it be?
I mean, if they didn't make so many of them, like I would love to. I love Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and it might be because my whole family was from Texas. I'm first generation here, and that was one of my favorite movies growing up. But obviously they've made a million of them. But that's like, I love that movie. Like, if I could be a part of that movie and do another one where it still felt new and real, that would be amazing.
Oh, yeah. All right. Now, I'm going to hit you with a would you rather. And
Oh,
you messed up because you told me that, you're a water bug. You love water.
yes.
So I'm going to give you two that, involve the water.
Okay.
We'll see how wild you're willing to get here. Would you rather be in a submersible that's just going down to visit the Titanic? You're a tourist. They do this. There's services for it. Everything might go to plan. Or you're cage diving to see sharks and the rope snaps. You plummet 30 feet, still have your oxygen tank on you and all that. But hey, the crew knows you're there. They're going to try to get to you.
So I will be in a submarine or in a shark cage where it snaps and I'm going down to the bottom in a shark cage in the darkness, or in a submarine where I have lights and air. I'm going with the submarine. I'm sorry.
Whoa.
I would rather have lights and air than darkness and yeah,
that would be horrible.
oh my gosh. Yeah, that either one. I don't like either of them. I don't like either of those. I tried scuba diving once and people love it, right? It's like, oh, it's beautiful. But I didn't enjoy it. I don't like being so far down that if something was to happen, I can't get back up. Like I want to have enough time and enough breath where I could swim up to the top. I don't want to be so far down that I can't swim up to the top if I lose my breath.
Yeah, and then there's rules like, well, don't come up too fast or do this, or you're going to pass out in the water. It's like, what?
Yes, you have to like decalibrate the thing, and I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah.
I'll snorkel on the top and look at the fish and all that. I don't have any problem with that. I don't want to go down that deep.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. And one more, and then we'll get into some fan questions and I'll get you out of here. We have about 10 minutes left.
Okay.
Is that
Yep.
okay.
13 minutes.
13 minutes. Okay. What is a horror cliche that you absolutely hate?
That I hate.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I hate it, but when they say, well, just like, in Scream, right? When they tease about, when they say, I'll be back, don't ever say you'll be back because you won't be back. That's one, maybe that could be a cliche. That's, you don't, it's too cheesy, right?
Yeah.
The car that won't start, right? Exactly. And one thing that's annoying, which I get why they do that, because I think it's actually a real reaction. They've studied it. But when you're running and you fall, it's just, why does everyone have to run and fall? Why do they put that in the movies? It's so annoying. It's so predictable. That is one thing that's a pet peeve of mine. And everyone, they do it all the time. It's just like, come on already. But I guess there's some psychological thing that when you do get scared, you do fall or something, I guess. But it's annoying because people think you don't really fall every time you run. So that's kind of annoying.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Right. It's like,
it's
so silly.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, let's see here. Here's a good one. Is the work ethic and culture behind the scenes of the shoot dependent on the genre? Like, our comedy is a little more lighthearted, or?
No, I think that everybody that's working behind the scenes are working and getting their job done. No matter what the genre is of the film, I think everybody is still, professional, wants to do a fantastic job on lighting, whether you're doing a comedy or a horror film or a drama. I just, and they let you, everyone that's on set, that's the crew, they're letting you do your thing and prepare and, whatnot. However, if you're doing a drama and somebody has a very heavy scene, I'm sure, people are more, quiet and respectfful, but, no, I'd say everybody has a job to do. And for example, if it's the lighting person, their job is to make everything look beautiful, you look beautiful, the set look beautiful, regardless of what the genre is. And, the set designers to make it look real. And, so yeah, I think it's just everyone's trying to do their best on no matter what the genre is.
Awesome. Okay, let's see here. Oh, here's a good one. Favorite person to work with?
Oh gosh, that's a tough one. I have worked with so many amazing people. I mean, I was excited to work with Snoop Dogg. I was excited to work with Scarlett Johansson and Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson and of course Jason Momoa. I mean, the list goes. I've been very blessed to work with some amazing actors. Oh gosh, they were all so fun and exciting. Each person had their own thing, right? But I can say, like on Baywatch, I met two of my best friends, Stacey Camano and Alicia Richter, now Piazza. They were on Baywatch with me, and we became like really close friends, and it's like a tight knit friendship and family. So I did, take that from being on the show, which is awesome.
Yeah,
but they were all great. And Jason Momoa, he's like a sweet, wonderful, like little brother to me. And, it was so wonderful to see him blossom and grow and become the huge, successful talent that he is today, so that's fun to watch.
Yeah. But Artie, I'm going to give you the real answer here. Her son.
Hey, 100%. That has always been my number one choice for sure. I mean, that's definitely the highlight of my career for sure. Yeah.
So James wants to know if any of the fans helped you come up with some concepts or anything for Wineville from your social media pages.
Help me with any for Wineville? I don't think so, because Wineville was created before, no one knew that Wineville was out until it was out, and didn't know the story until it was out. Yeah. That was Richard Shankman, myself, and my mother. My sick and twisted mom. I was running by a lot of the ideas, and she came up with some of the ideas as well. So between the three of us, became a crazy, sick and twisted thing.
Jeez. Did Jaws have a swimming effect on you?
Yeah, I think that Jaws, I mean, for everyone that grew up with Jaws, to this day, I think I'm always a little, leery in the water. You're always kind of looking, especially, I was in the beaches of Baywatch, right? Always having to be in the water. But, gosh, how much time do we have? A quick, funny shark story. When we were shooting one of the scenes in Baywatch, Scott Plank and I were out. It was the middle of the night. We were out in the ocean, and there was a scene where, we had to kiss and all these things, and all the water safety people are all around us, and we're doing our scene, and we're doing it fast. We leave, and we're like, why was all the water safety guys out? There were sharks surrounding us. So they were all around us, and they had their spears ready to shoot the shark. So they literally let us, and they wanted to get the scene so bad that they let us sit out there with these sharks in the water, and they were just going to shoot it with a spear if it got near us.
Wow,
they went through those types of things to get their shot. So that, after that, I was a little more like, holy, I don't know if I want to go in the water anymore. But no, I mean, I'm fine. I think as a kid, though, you're always worried about Jaws. Yeah. Woo. But I still swim in the ocean all the time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Daughter of Death wants to know, do you have a favorite horror comedy? Because you've named a lot of gritty horror that you really like.
Yeah, I'm definitely a gritty horror type of person, but I do like horror comedy as well. I'm trying to think of, oh God, what did I just see that I thought was so good? Oh my gosh, I'm terrible right now. Was it the mimosa I had earlier? Well, Zombieland, that was good. that was funny. I really liked that, and that was a fun one. But there was something I just saw, a new one that I liked that was horror comedy. Sorry, that's terrible. I can't think of the name of it, but no, I like horror comedy. I'm just not as a huge fan of horror comedy as I am like the sick and twisted horror comedies. I mean, horror movies.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Okay, so here's an interesting one. How much money would it take for you to spend a night in a cemetery? Do cemeteries even creep you out?
Not really. Does that sound weird? They don't really creep me out because I think of like they're spirits, right? I mean, they're the people we love, that we loved, that we do love, and it's just their spirits. So I personally, it wouldn't creep me out. However, if you want to pay me, sleep in a cemetery. If you want to pay me a lot, then I'll take it. But it really wouldn't creep me out that much, I don't think. Because I think the most people that are buried were loved, right? And if they were that loved that somebody buried them, then they must be good people. So they would be good spirits.
Yeah.
It's kind of my thinking.
Trey wants to know, what was your favorite scene and character in Starsky and Hutch?
Well, definitely the locker room scene, for sure. The locker room scene, doing that improv with Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson, that was so much fun. And, you know, because it was improv, it was all just natural, real answers, real questions. And even my locker in the room, like it was all pictures of me as a kid, my uncle as a kid, like it was our real life pictures and stuff. So it's kind of fun. Like if you're watching the movie and you see the little picture of the little boy and the little girl, it's me and my uncle. So yeah, that was a really fun scene. I think that, and I feel like that scene is the most memorable scene in the movie that everybody remembers, is the locker room scene.
Okay. And last one, because I know you got to get out of here. Brian Perry wants to know, do you like the Friday the 13th films?
Absolutely.
There we go, baby.
I grew up on Jason. I watched almost all of them. There was a period where it got a little, you know, there's a few that were just kind of a little, but yes, I am a Friday the 13th gal for sure. That was like my growing up, right? Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And I guess that's all we have, unless you want to tell people where they can go to watch Wineville, get their hands on a copy, how to follow you, support you, and everything you're doing.
I would appreciate and love it if everyone would go watch Wineville and rate it. It would mean the world to me. You can watch it anywhere: Amazon, Apple, YouTube, Tubi. You can even get an autographed copy at winevillemovie.com. So thank you. Yes, please go watch it. You won't be disappointed. You might be freaked out and shocked, but you won't be disappointed.
And where can they follow you at so they can keep up to date with all of the latest Brande Roderick happenings?
You can just follow me at Brande Roderick on any of my platforms like Instagram, Facebook, X, you know, and make sure, please, I will tell people this because people have said, oh, well, I got your message, or I got this thing that you wanted me to reach out to you. No, that is not me. It's a fake. It happens all the time. People will even message someone from my account, like under comments, and they'll message people from a fake Brande Roderick account. It's not me, people. I'm never going to ask you to come over to my other account and chat, okay? It's never going to happen. That's not what's happening. Please always look for the blue verified check mark. My name, Brande Roderick. Don't fall for any of the fake accounts. Always look for the blue check mark, and I'm never going to go ask you to go any place else to chat, okay? So please, I get so many messages about that where you were saying on your other, it's like, no, that's not me. I didn't say anything. So with any celebrity, always look for the blue check mark, and that's it. Definitely.
Yeah. Look for the one and only, please.
Yes. It's Instagram, Facebook, and X. And YouTube. You can go on my YouTube show too.
Hey, there you go. Well, Brandy, I would like to thank you so much for being willing to come on here and talk some horror with us. You've been an amazing guest. If
Thank
you do anything else in the future, I would love to have you back on, in the horror realm.
Thank you. It was so much fun. I really appreciate you, Steven. Thank you for having me on. I love your show. Keep doing what you're doing. It's awesome.
Thank you so much. All right, we'll let you head out of here. I got you out at precisely the correct time.
Yay! Okay. Now, do you need me to turn anything off, or you're going to do it on your end?
Oh, you can go ahead. I'll just stick on here and answer a few more questions.
Okay. All right, guys. Bye. Mwah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brandy. Bye-bye. All right, horror fam. That was Brande Roderick, baby. Did everyone have a good time today? Was that a cool interview or what? Wasn't she amazing? Wow. What's up, Brian Perry? How are you doing, brother? Wow, Dragon Blue, she was fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Hobbs. Hobbs really liked it. James Hughes, welcome to the horror fam, my friend. You can never grow old. You can never die. You are now one of us. Who else is in here that's some newcomers? I'll go ahead and welcome you all proper like. Thank you, DGen. I'm glad you really liked that. Yeah, that was really fun. Wineville is definitely not what I expected when I watched it. You all are going to find out very quick when you check it out. Thank you, Dunwich. Thank you. I tried. I hope. Hey, and I hooked you up. I found out where you can get your very own autographed copy of Wineville. Oh, did we, RC? What was the biggest you saw? What was the biggest amount of people you saw? Because I'm seeing, I saw 60s at one point. Of course, we all are multi-streaming, though. Yeah, it is much grittier. And some of the plot points, some of the areas that she was willing to go, the story she told was absolutely unhinged, man. Absolutely unhinged. Hey, 34 on the YouTube's very good. Oh, Anna saw 36. That's even better. I like it. DOD, I'm glad you enjoyed it. And once again, yeah, Wineville is on Tubi. You can check it out for free on Tubi. Now, you're going to get interrupted with some ads on there. If you want the ad-free experience, you may want to go to winevillemovie.com and pick yourself up a DVD copy that's, of course, autographed. So either way, though, there's multiple avenues to check out her movie. And wow. Yeah. It gets wild. I don't want to spoil anything, but it gets wild. They tackle some themes that you're just like, they went for it. Like I didn't see this coming at all. JK said, I found it on Tubi, but all the titles I checked out said the film was unavailable. That's odd. Maybe because you're in the big Canada? I'm not sure, brother. Not entirely sure. All right, horror fam. So I'm going to stay on here for about 5 more minutes, maybe 10. So if anybody has any last minute questions and comments you'd like to send over, let's go ahead and get to them. I'll do my best to answer those for you. Brian Perry, I'm sorry to hear that you are going under this April 21st at your doctor's. I hope everything goes well for you, brother. I hope everything goes well for you, man. So, yeah, was there anything that I didn't ask that you all wish I would have asked, or anything that you think I could have done better? Or was that pretty good? Did that work out pretty good? And are there any guests that you all would like to see me try to get on here? Brian Perry, there's nothing to be scared about, brother. You have the entirety of the horror fam rallying behind you, dude. No problems. Everything's going to be a-okay, brother. You're going to go in. Let me tell you something. You're going to go in on April 21st. You're going to have this doctor's appointment. You're going to go under the knife. And then by April 22nd, you're going to be hanging out with the fam again, bro. April 24th, okay? That's the next day, okay? That's the next stream. After that, you'll be right in here hanging out with us as always, brother. No problem. Hey, love you too, BP. Love you too, brother. Nothing's going to happen to you, bro. You will be right back here where you belong, my friend. Yeah, they're going to take great care of you, dude. It's just like Brandy was talking about today, man. Just go in with the positive mindset, go in with the good vibes. I'll tell you what, BP, you're going in on the 21st. What you should do is sit down and write down what you're going to do on the April 22nd. What are you going to do? What movie are you going to watch? Are you going to go out? Are you going to get some ice cream? What's going on? Just sit down and write out what April 22nd is going to look like for you, brother, because you're going to be fine. JK says, no, I thought you were great, Stephen. Very engaging and great at making guests relax. Thank you, JK. I try, man. I try. I know, I know that it is really hard for some guests. Some guests aren't used to this. They're not used to the interview style, or they're not used to the hour-long show, whatnot, man. And some, like John Mack and Brande Roderick, you can tell this isn't their first rodeo. They did amazingly well. But also, I have watched interviews with both of these ladies, and I try to watch interviews with all of my guests. And I know that sometimes they have really bad interviews, and it's not their fault. It's the interviewer's fault. So what I try to do is just try to get better, and I try to hook them up with a really good experience. I try to make it as easy as possible on them, because that's what I should be focusing on, right? I'm the host. It's my show. I don't want to get them on here and then be a bad host. It's like inviting someone over to your house and you have dishes piled up all over the counters and hanging out of the sink, man. It's like, you don't do that, and your house stinks. You don't do that. So, I just try to focus on, okay, this is how these interviews have went for them. Here's some of the questions they were asked. I don't want to bombard them with all the same stuff, but I do want to get the information that is pertinent to the horror fam. And I don't want to get them on here and be awkward, or, I mean, of course, like when she didn't know what fun fact to, or what was a question she's never been asked or whatnot, or has always wanted to, I could have come up with some off the wall. Y'all know me, for God's sake, especially you, DOD. You've been around and Dragon Blues. Good God. But I'm not going to do that to her, man. I'm not here to embarrass anybody, hurt anybody's feelings. I'm not one of those interviewers that's going to try to piss somebody off for clicks. I'm here to have a good time, make it as comfortable as possible, and ask questions that I genuinely want to know the answers to, because I know you all will too. And I will try when I can. For instance, John Mack, we had a hard time limit of an hour. For Brande Roderick, it was an hour and a half. So I try to even sacrifice some of the questions that I have for the horror fam's questions, especially if they're better questions. I'm not going to, if I have a question, what is the worst part of the filmmaking experience for you? That's a good question. She could share something that, could help other people, like, that are looking to become filmmakers and stuff. So I'm not going to go, trade that question out for, do you like the color purple? I won't do that. But so what I'm saying is, I do try to ask the horror fams questions when I can. And I do try to, gauge what the better questions are for myself and the horror fam and for our guests. So yeah, so I analyze everything. I'm trying to analyze everything and always trying to get better because of course this is going to be part of the Talk Horror podcast. This is going to end up on the podcast. So yeah. Brian Perry, I'm sorry that they're going to put tubes down your throat. That's never a fun time. But dude, all it is a way to figure out what's going on, brother. So that's not the something to be worried about or something to dread. It's like, well, they're trying to help you. So you got this, bro. You've got this, homie. DOD, yeah, I don't want to ever talk over the guests. That's just bad etiquette and bad for the audio, bad for the audience, bad for everybody, because not when you talk over a guest, number one, now there's some legitimate reasons for it. Like it can be an accident thing. It can be an excitement thing, but it's like, you're the one who's, for instance, my guest is the one who is bringing some value here. It's like, I want to hear what they're saying. I don't want to talk over them and take that away from them. So that's the thing. Also, you'll notice like the way a lot of systems are set up now, like if you do like talk over each other, somebody's audio is going to get cut. So that's rough for the audience as well. And it's kind of like a narcissistic thing that I have seen some podcast guests do that. And some that really surprised me, even with our guest tonight, Brande Roderick, like while I was doing some research, I saw some guests or some hosts that really surprised me with that stuff, like talking over the guests. So yeah, try not to do that. Horror, what's going on, baby? Welcome to the stream. I hate to say that you're coming in at the tail end of everything. We just had an amazing guest, Brande Roderick, but the good news is that this stream's going to be, you can always go back and watch it whenever you want. But that's unfortunate because if you had been here, she was answering questions from the audience, which was really good. And of course, I'm going to, this will be a standalone video on YouTube that you can go back and watch. And I'm going to launch the Talk Horror podcast immediately. And now tomorrow, I have a guest coming over. And some of you all may know who he is. Ginger Zombie is coming over, and we are going to discuss a couple different topics. We're actually going to do a couple different podcasts while he's here. Now we have multiple we're going to do. We're going to do more than two, but tomorrow there are some large topics we're going to dive into. So we're going to do two at a time. And I'm thinking about live streaming both, but we are going to do Haunted West Virginia because you all have talked with me before about some of my, we're going to talk about personal paranormal experiences, not Haunted West Virginia. We're going to talk about personal paranormal experiences because I've talked about my paranormal experiences on here before, and he can provide validation to some of my experiences because he was with me during some of those. So you all are finally going to get that, and you're finally going to get some of these stories from a different perspective, which is going to be very interesting. And don't worry, because I know that a lot of you are like, oh my God, Ginger Zombie. Yes, in the future, we are going to do a Talk Horror show retrospective for those of you who are that old school horror fam. So that's going to be very exciting. The other topic we're going to discuss tomorrow, though, yes, is music, horror music. So, we may talk about our favorite horror themed bands, some of our favorite horror themed songs, the crossover between horror and metal and horror and music in general. It's going to be very interesting. I'm very excited for the Talk Horror retrospective as well, and who knows? I mean, maybe I'll talk with him a little bit later. He'll be like, no, let's do the retrospective tomorrow. So we'll see. It's going to be very fun though. I promise. Very fun. Horror, I would love because, you know, we have had paranormal experience podcasts before. I would love it if at some point you would share, because we'll do another one. I would love it if at some point you would share your paranormal experiences with all of us and we'll talk about them on the stream. That'd be really cool. Thank you, BP. Thank you so much, brother. I tried. I truly duly try. DOD says you do really well when you have guests. They've wanted to come back, some of them. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And there's some more that I need to get in contact with and bring them back. Like, for instance, Kayla. If you remember, we had her on, and she is a special makeup effects artist. She was actually one of the special makeup effects artists on a film that I did some behind the scenes stuff for. She came on, and during a live stream, I suffered a power outage. And during that power outage, she was left on stream all by herself. And I promised her, like, we're going to do that again. We're going to do that again. I need to get you back, and I need to give you a fair shake at this. So I do need to get Kayla back. And we will. She agreed. She did agree. You know, I haven't honestly, I haven't had a guest say, I don't want to do that again. Now, I've had some that have since gone missing, like that, you know, just life, you know, but I am in contact with some of them, you know. Who remembers when I had a whole band on here? Tell me that wasn't badass, dude. Or her saying, in terms of paranormal experiences, she will share all of them. She has so many, and one which I experienced for you. Can't wait. Can't wait. Her, as a matter of fact, you know, Dragon Blues is talking about love our paranormal streams. We had one. You should have been here. I wish you would have been around at this time. During this stream, I'm talking about a very specific experience, and a fly comes in here and starts landing on me. Now, how many times, you know, now I know flies are going to get in the house here and there. That's kind of not too rare of a thing, but doesn't happen all the time. And then how many times do you have a fly land on you in your house? Usually they're going nuts trying to get out. This fly not only landed on me on stream, but if I remember right, it died on stream. Like, it was going fucking nuts, dude. During a paranormal stream. It was very weird. Very weird. Rod F saying hello from Michigan. Rod F, welcome to the horror fam, my friend. You can never grow old. You can never die. You're now one of us. Welcome home, my friend. Glad to have you here. Are you coming in for the Brande Roderick interview, brother? I know, horror. This is it only compounds, right? It's going to be like the freaking Amityville Horror. We're going to get a priest over here to bless everything, and he's going to run out covered in flies, green ooze and shit all over the bathroom floor. It's going to be disgusting. I'm going to love it. Rod F, thank you for subscribing. Good sir. Really appreciate that, brother. Look at that. Just coming right into the horror fam, just booyah, kicking the door down, baby. Just all in it to win it. There we go. I think it was Brundlefly, DOD. I think I could hear Jeff Goldblum's little voice coming out of it. I'm so sorry, brother. I'm so sorry. You can always go back, rewatch the stream at any time and soon. And I'm going to keep Brandy up to date on all the new links as this gets uploaded to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, so on and so forth. But if you want the video version, you can always go back and watch this, or I'm also going to do an edited video version that will come up on YouTube. That's going to be just a little more polished, you know. But I really appreciate you coming in. Really, truly, duly, deeply do. And appreciate you subscribing too, man. The support, it helps a lot. She was an amazing guest. Absolutely incredible. Incredible. Really had a great time. All right, my friends. I'm going to head out of here. We're going to have some more live streams tomorrow. I do believe. So stay tuned for those, my friends. And until next time. look horror, listen horror, talk horror, my friends. Mwah! Love every single one of you. Good night, everybody.